Are you going through a season where life feels unbearable? Have you ever felt like giving up because the pain, pressure, or problems just won't end? We get it. Life isn't always easy, but here's a message straight from heaven's heart. Tough times never last, but tough people, especially those who walk by faith, do. Welcome to the Faith Builder channel, where your faith is fed, your hope is strengthened, and your spirit is equipped to overcome anything life throws your way. In this book summary series, we dive deep into one of the most powerful and hope-filled Christian classics ever written. Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. This isn't just a motivational message, it's a spiritual survival guide. Across 12 life-transforming chapters, we'll uncover timeless truths and real-life strategies to help you rise above fear, loss, and failure, discover the power of faith-filled thinking, rebuild after setbacks, find strength when you're at your weakest, and see how God can turn your trials into triumphs. Each episode includes a compelling chapter-by-chapter narrative summary, key takeaways for reflection and spiritual growth, powerful Bible verses to anchor your faith, a bold call to action to help you walk in victory. So before we dive in, do this one thing. Subscribe to the Faith Builder channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single chapter. Like, comment, and share this series with someone who needs strength today. And tag a friend who's going through a tough time, because this message could change their life. Whether you're in the valley or on the mountaintop, this journey is for you, because God's purpose for your life is greater than the pain you're facing. So take a deep breath. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. And you are not defeated. Let's begin this life-changing journey through Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. Only on the Faith Builder channel, where storms end, but your strength begins. Here's the Chapter 1 summary of Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. Life can be hard, really hard. In Chapter 1, Dr. Robert H. Schuller opens the book with a sobering reality: the economic collapse of 1982, a time when businesses were closing, families were losing homes, and people were paralyzed by fear. Yet, in the middle of this national crisis, Schuller saw something deeper than an economic problem. He saw a spiritual and emotional epidemic. People weren't just financially broke, they were mentally and emotionally bankrupt, defeated in their thoughts, paralyzed in their perspectives, and worst of all, many believed their problems would never end. But into that darkness, Dr. Schuller speaks a life-altering truth. Tough times never last, but tough people do. This wasn't a slogan, it was a lifeline, a revelation, a call to rise again, not by denying the storm, but by discovering who you are in the storm. He shares how even he as a pastor was bombarded with people asking, "What's the use? Can we survive this? Is God even listening?" His response wasn't a financial tip, it was a mindset shift. He taught people to think with possibility, speak with faith, and live with hope. Because the real problem wasn't just in the economy, it was in their thoughts. Schuller introduces the concept of possibility thinking, a form of courageous, God-centered optimism that believes no matter how big the problem, God is bigger. Takeaway points. Tough times are temporary, but how you respond determines what lasts. Your season of suffering is not your final story. Negative thinking is more destructive than any external crisis. It erodes your strength and blinds your spiritual vision. Possibility thinking is faith in action. It says, "This may be hard, but with God, I can get through it." You don't have to control everything, but you do have to control your response. Attitude is everything. God uses pressure to reveal your inner power. Sometimes the heat you feel is what's refining the gold in you. Bible verses for reflection. 2 Corinthians 4:8 KJV. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Matthew 19:26, KJV. With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Call to action for the believer. If you're in a tough season right now, don't let it define your faith. Let it refine your faith. Begin speaking life over your situation. Replace fear with faith. Replace worry with worship. Say aloud, this situation is not the end. God is with me in the storm. I will not be defeated. I am stronger than I feel and braver than I think. I am a tough person by God's grace, and I will outlast this season. Remember, the storm may be strong, but the one in you is stronger. Tough times never last, but tough people, people like you, do. Chapter 2, But Tough People Do. From Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do by Dr. Robert Schuller. In this emotionally gripping chapter, Dr. Schuller moves from economic crisis to personal triumph. While Chapter 1 laid bare the devastation of 1982's recession, Chapter 2 shifts the spotlight to the unbreakable strength of the human spirit, anchored by faith, fueled by hope, and proven in pain. He opens with Knute Rockne's famous quote, "When the going gets tough, the tough get going." But Schuller isn't talking about bravado or bravura. He's talking about real people with grit, grace, and God. Like a master storyteller, Schuller recounts extraordinary testimonies. Mary Martin, Broadway legend, who lost her voice and nearly her life, yet returned singing because she held on to hope. Benno Fischer, a Holocaust survivor who found love again after a Nazi concentration camp. John Prunty, a man who became a quadriplegic after an accident, and yet rebuilt his life through desire, dedication, and determination. And his own daughter, Carol Schuller, who lost her leg in a tragic accident, but refused to lose her joy or her dreams. She went on to ski, play softball, and share her story boldly with the world. Each of these stories becomes a living parable, examples of what happens when faith outlasts fear, and when people embrace possibility thinking. Schuller reminds us that we don't have to avoid the valley to live in victory. We just need to walk through it with courage, vision, and the unshakable belief that God is still at work. Takeaway points. Tough people aren't born, they're forged. They are ordinary people with extraordinary persistence. They don't quit when life gets hard. Pain doesn't mean you're powerless. From Mary Martin to John Prunty, the pain became a platform for purpose. Their brokenness birthed breakthrough. Faith is the bridge between trauma and triumph. Schuller's daughter Carol believed that it's not how you walk that counts, but who walks with you. Powerful. You can turn your millstone into a milestone. No matter what you've lost, there's always a reason to rise again, because you're still here and God is still good. Bible verses for reflection. Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Romans 5:3-4. We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance. And endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. 2 Corinthians 4:8a. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Call to action for the believer. Beloved, your storm may be real, but so is your Savior. Don't underestimate what God can do through your scars. He uses broken things to shine brightest. This week, choose one area in your life and declare over it. This is not the end. I will rise. I will rebuild. I will be used by God. Pray, reflect, speak life. Because tough times never last, but by God's grace, tough believers do. Chapter 3. Put your problem in proper perspective. From Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. In this chapter, Dr. Schuller tackles one of the most liberating truths a believer can embrace. Your problem isn't your enemy. Your perspective might be. With grace and wisdom, Schuller explains that everyone has problems, rich or poor, young or old, successful or struggling. Problems are not proof that you failed. They're proof that you're alive. The difference between those who sink and those who soar lies in how they view their problems. Schuller introduces 6 perspective-shifting principles that redefine how to handle life's setbacks. 1. Everyone has problems. Don't isolate yourself. Even the seemingly successful are battling something. 2. Every problem has a limited lifespan. It may look like a permanent crisis, but in God's timing, it's just a season. 3. Every problem holds positive possibilities. Hidden within every obstacle is an opportunity. 4. You can choose how to respond. Your reaction is your power. Your response can transform the entire outcome. 5. Every problem will either defeat you or develop you, depending on your response. 6. Your problem is not your identity. Don't confuse what you're going through with who you are. He challenges the reader to stop making problems an excuse. Whether it's being unemployed, underpaid, sick, overlooked, or overwhelmed, your problem is not the final word. Schuller gives vivid examples, even pointing to people with massive success who still had major struggles. He emphasizes that problems are not prejudiced. They visit everyone. But here's the turning point. Tough people manage problems. They don't let problems manage them. And that starts with proper perspective. Takeaway points. Your problem is not unique, but your response can be. You're not the only one hurting, but you can be the one who heals. Problems are not permanent. They're visitors, not residents. Treat them like guests, not landlords. You have a choice. You may not control the problem, but you do control your attitude, your actions, and your mindset. Perspective is power. When you look at your problem through the eyes of God, solutions begin to form. Bible verses for reflection. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. James 1, 2, 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Proverbs 24:10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Call to action for the believer. Today, look at your problem from heaven's perspective. Ask yourself, what can God teach me through this? What fruit will grow out of this pressure? Who will be blessed by my breakthrough? Then pray, Lord, shift my perspective. Help me to see problems not as punishments, but as platforms for your glory. Don't magnify your problem, magnify your God. Chapter 4, 12 Principles for Managing Problems Positively. From Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. If Chapter 3 taught us to see our problems differently, Chapter 4 teaches us how to manage them masterfully. Dr. Schuller boldly declares, every problem can be managed, even if it can't be solved. This chapter is an empowering guide, like a spiritual toolbox, filled with 12 principles designed to give believers control over chaos and restore confidence in crisis. He acknowledges that some problems are truly unsolvable in human terms: terminal diagnoses, unfaithful partners, irreversible mistakes. But he emphasizes that even if you can't erase the problem, you can embrace a new mindset that will lead to victory. The 12 principles are not just theory. They are real-world strategies born from pastoral experience, personal pain, and powerful faith. Each principle is a step upward, moving from emotional paralysis to spiritual power. Let's explore them. The 12 principles for managing problems positively. 1. Look at the problem with fresh eyes. Change your view. What are you not seeing? 2. Always ask, what can I learn from this? Every problem has a lesson. Mine it like gold. 3. Face the problem honestly. Denial is deadly. Truth is the starting point of healing. 4. Admit responsibility where it's due. Don't blame, own your role, and reclaim your power. 5. Stay emotionally balanced. Don't let panic make your decisions. Keep calm in the storm. 6. Refuse to let the problem control your life. You are not your situation. Set healthy boundaries. 7. Be solution-focused, not symptom-obsessed. Don't get stuck rehearsing what's wrong, seek what's next. 8. Seek wise counsel. God often speaks through others, mentors, pastors, friends. 9. Take one small action step. Momentum defeats discouragement. Just start. 10. Refuse to quit. Even if you cry, crawl, or stumble, don't stop moving forward. 11. Pray and expect divine intervention. God enters problems we invite him into. 12. See yourself as a manager, not a victim. You may not control what happens, but you control how you steward it. Schuller wraps up with this key truth. You don't manage a problem by ignoring it. You manage it by naming it, framing it, and then faithing through it. Takeaway points. You can't always remove the storm, but you can build a shelter of strength. Management is stewardship. God gives us power not to control everything, but to handle it with wisdom and peace. Action beats anxiety. Do the next right thing, even if it's small. You are not helpless, you are heaven-backed. Through faith and practical steps, your problem becomes your platform. Bible verses for reflection. Philippians 4, 3rd JV. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6. And trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. Call to action for the believer. This week, take one problem in your life and apply the 12 principles to it. Write them out, pray over them, act on them. Choose to be the manager, not the victim. Say aloud, this may be too big for me, but it's not too big for my God. I will face it. I will grow from it. I will overcome it. And remember, problems are not the end of you. They're the beginning of something greater through you. Chapter 5. Take charge and take control. From Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert F. Schuller. In Chapter 5, Dr. Schuller pulls no punches. He looks the reader in the eye and says, if your life is out of control, it's time to take it back. He opens by identifying a painful but liberating truth. Most people don't lose control overnight. It's surrendered slowly, one excuse at a time. A little blame here, a little fear there, and before you know it, life feels like it's being lived for you, not by you. But God didn't create you to drift. He created you to lead your life with purpose and faith. This chapter challenges the excuses we use to explain away stagnation. My past is holding me back. I have no power over this situation. Other people are in control. I can't help how I feel. Schuller demolishes these lies with a declaration of truth. You have the power of choice. You may not control the weather, the economy, or someone else's actions, but you absolutely control your thoughts, your attitude, your response, your decisions, your spiritual direction. The enemy of your soul thrives in passivity. That's why this chapter is a battle cry. Get up, take charge, make a decision, reclaim the driver's seat. Even in the Bible, God never calls people who are idle. He calls those who are willing to move. Moses had to stretch his rod. David had to run toward Goliath. The prodigal son had to come to himself and walk back home. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a made-up mind. Takeaway points. Taking control is a spiritual responsibility. Surrendering everything to fear, depression, or laziness isn't humility. It's defeat. God wants you empowered. You can't steer what you're not willing to drive. Stop saying, one day I'll fix this. Today is that day. Faith without ownership is powerless. You can believe God will work, but you must be willing to take the steps. God honors faith in motion. Victims wait. Leaders act. Be the leader of your own life. Don't give that authority to pain, people, or the past. Bible verses for reflection. Deuteronomy 30:19 IV. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. Call to action for the believer. Child of God, it's time to stand up in faith and take charge of your life again. Speak this aloud in faith. I am not a victim. I am not helpless. I am not stuck. God has empowered me to take back control. I will lead my life by faith, not fear. This week, pick one area where you've given up control: your health, your mindset, your schedule, your prayer life, and take one bold step to reclaim it. Because here's the truth. You were never created to be ruled by your circumstances. You were created to rule in life through Christ. Romans 5:17. Chapter 6. The 10 Commandments of Possibility Thinking. From Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. Welcome to the heart of the book. If the previous chapters have built the foundation, Chapter 6 lays the blueprint for building a new, resilient life through possibility thinking, a spiritual mindset that sees hope where others see defeat and faith where others see fear. Schuller introduces 10 foundational commandments that are not about religious rules, but mental and spiritual attitudes that shape destiny. These principles are the habits of survivors, leaders, overcomers, and visionaries. He calls them commandments, not because they are laws, but because they command power into the life of anyone who applies them. They don't just help you survive, they train you to thrive. Let's explore these powerful principles, the 10 Commandments of Possibility Thinking. 1. Never reject a possibility because you see something wrong with it. Every good idea looks messy at first. Keep digging. 2. Never reject a possibility because you won't get the credit. Ego kills vision. Be kingdom-minded, not self-minded. 3. Never reject an idea because it's impossible. With God, impossible is an invitation for His intervention. 4. Never reject a possibility because your mind is already made up. A closed mind is the enemy of a breakthrough. 5. Never reject an idea because it's illegal. Instead, change the law through righteous activism. Schuller encourages innovation, not rebellion. 6. Never reject an idea because you don't have the money. Provision follows vision. Believe and move forward in faith. 7. Never reject an idea because it will take too long. Time is not your enemy. Delay is not denial. 8. Never reject an idea because it's a solution in search of a problem. God may be giving you an answer before the need appears. Never reject a possibility because your experience says otherwise. Let God stretch you beyond what you've seen. 10. Never reject an idea because it's too simple. Often, God hides power in simplicity, like David's stone. Each of these commandments confronts the mental excuses that keep people small. Schuller masterfully exposes how our fear, pride, logic, or tradition often blocks divine creativity. He reminds us, faith is not logic. Faith is often the opposite of logic. Faith moves mountains, and logic builds them. Takeaway points. Possibility thinking is biblical faith in action. It doesn't deny reality, it dares to believe in redemption. Your greatest enemy may not be the problem, it may be your mindset. Shift your thinking, and you'll shift your life. Don't let fear wear a disguise. Many of our rejections of ideas are just well-dressed fear. What you reject today may be the breakthrough God sent for tomorrow. Bible verses for reflection. Luke 1:37. For with God nothing shall be impossible. Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Mark 9, NKJV. If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. Call to action for the believer. This week, challenge every limiting belief in your mind. Take one bold idea you've been dismissing because of time, money, fear, or opinions, and write down what would happen if you believed it were possible. Pray this aloud. Lord, expand my mind and stretch my faith. I will no longer shrink from ideas you place in my heart. I believe the impossible is possible with you. Don't just think it, speak it, write it, pray over it, because possibility thinking is not just positive, It's prophetic. Chapter 7, Count to 10 and Win. From tough times never last, but tough people do. What do you do when emotions run high? When the pressure cooker of life feels like it's about to explode? Dr. Schuller says, count to 10 and win. No, this isn't a cliche. This chapter is a masterclass in emotional control, mental reset, and faithful reaction. Because in times of stress, the first thing we often lose is not the battle, it's our composure. Schuller argues that how you react in a crisis determines whether you overcome it or are overcome by it. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is pause, breathe, count to 10. Why? Because those seconds can interrupt a cycle of self-sabotage. He shares stories of people who destroyed marriages, businesses, or friendships because they reacted too fast, spoke too harshly, or acted out of wounded emotion rather than calm wisdom. This chapter introduces the discipline of delay, using a small pause to regain perspective, peace, and power. And here's the genius. Schuller ties each number from 1 to 10 to a spiritual attitude. So counting to 10 becomes a faith exercise, not just an emotional timeout. Count to 10, the winning way. 1, count 1, pause before you speak. Silence is strength, not weakness. 2, count 2, ask, what would Jesus do? Let the Spirit check your flesh before reacting. Count 3, remember the consequences. Words spoken in haste can take years to heal. 4, count 4, pray quickly. Whisper, God, guide me right now. 5, count 5, recall your purpose. Don't let petty conflict distract you from divine assignment. 6, count 6, think long term. Will this matter a week from now? A year? 7, count 7, forgive fast. Don't give the devil a foothold in your emotions. 8, count 8, choose love over ego. Be known for mercy, not pride. 9, count 9, take the high road. Not because others deserve it, but because God calls you higher. 10, count 10, now speak with grace. You've prayed, paused, and processed. Now act with divine wisdom. What emerges is not just self-control, but Holy Spirit-led responses that bring life, not destruction. Schuller's message is this: tough people are not ruled by emotions. They are ruled by purpose and patience. In moments of tension, the 10 count becomes your lifeline back to victory. Takeaway points. Reacting quickly often means reacting foolishly. Your pause is not weakness, it's wisdom. Counting to 10 is not just about delay, it's about dominion. Taking a pause puts your spirit back in charge of your soul. Never make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Peace is more powerful than proving a point. Bible verses for reflection. Proverbs 16:32. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city. James, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Ecclesiastes 7:7 verse 9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Call to action for the believer. This week, when pressure builds and emotions flare, count to 10 with purpose. Let each number remind you of God's peace, power, and presence. Before you speak, pause. Before you quit, breathe. Before you react, pray. Say aloud, Lord, I surrender my reactions to you. Make me a person of peace. Help me win the battle within so I can walk in victory outwardly. Because the truth is, tough people don't lash out. They look up. They don't explode. They endure. They count to 10, and they win. Chapter 8, The Faith That Can Move Your Mountain from Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. This is the breakthrough chapter, the spiritual summit of the book. Dr. Robert H. Schuller takes us straight to the core of Christian victory. Faith. Not mere belief, not vague optimism, but mountain-moving, possibility-believing, action-oriented faith that changes everything. He opens with Jesus' stunning words from Mark 11, verse 23. If anyone says to this mountain, go, throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Schuller doesn't water it down, he presses in. If faith can move literal mountains, then it can certainly move the mountains of debt, disease, depression, fear, rejection, failure, and hopelessness. This chapter isn't about hype, it's about holy confidence. Faith doesn't ignore the mountain, it speaks to it. Faith doesn't wait passively, it acts boldly. Schuller outlines the 5 phases of faith, showing how this divine force can be stirred, activated, and released to transform impossible circumstances. The 5 phases of mountain-moving faith. 1. The dream phase. Faith begins when you dare to dream big with God. All faith starts with imagination, guided by revelation. What do you see? 2. The decision phase. You must make a firm decision. I'm going after this dream. Wavering never produces miracles. Decide to believe. 3. The daring phase. Faith takes risks. It moves out of comfort zones. You step out before the waters part. You invest, speak, apply, act, even when you're afraid. 4. The delayed phase. This is where most people quit, but faith knows how to wait with expectation, not frustration. Delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. 5. The deliverance phase. The breakthrough comes, the mountain moves, and everyone sees the faithfulness of God made visible through your obedience. Schuller shares stories, his own and others, of people who clung to faith in seasons when all seemed lost and saw God turn it all around. Every testimony echoes one message. Faith doesn't just survive the storm, it speaks peace to it. Takeaway points. Faith is not a feeling, it's a decision. You choose to believe even when the mountain mocks you. God honors bold prayers and risky steps. You can't walk on water until you step out of the boat. The delay doesn't mean defeat, it's developing your character. In the waiting, your faith is growing roots. Every great move of God begins with someone who dared to believe. Why not you? Bible verses for reflection. Mark 11:20-3. Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Romans 4:20-21. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, being fully convinced that what he had promised he was also able to perform. Call to action for the believer. Right now, identify one mountain in your life. Name it. Then speak to it by faith. Write your dream. Make a decision. Take one bold step. Stay faithful in the delay. Expect deliverance. Say this aloud in faith. In the name of Jesus, I speak to this mountain. You will move. I choose to believe. I will not waver. I walk by faith, not by sight. My miracle is in motion. Remember, faith doesn't make things easy. It makes them possible. God is still moving mountains, and He's ready to move yours. Chapter 9, Prayer, the power that pulls everything together successfully. From Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert Schuller. After building a foundation on resilience, action, and faith, Dr. Schuller now brings us to the engine room of every breakthrough life, prayer. This chapter isn't just a reminder to pray, it's a revelation of what prayer really is. Prayer, Schuller writes, is the power that pulls everything together successfully. He dismantles the idea that prayer is a religious formality or spiritual obligation. Instead, prayer is shown as a divine strategy, the tool that aligns your human strength with God's supernatural intervention. Many people struggle in life, not because God isn't willing, but because they haven't asked, or they've given up too quickly, or they pray vague, faithless prayers that lack expectation. Schuller boldly teaches that prayer is not a last resort. It's the first and greatest force available to any believer. When everything is falling apart, prayer holds it together. When you're out of strength, prayer invites God's strength. He shares practical examples of miraculous turnarounds, marriages healed, debts cleared, dreams revived, when people began to pray with intensity, specificity, and unwavering trust. He also exposes 2 deadly misconceptions. 1. God already knows, so I don't need to ask. 2. I've prayed before and nothing happened. To both, he responds with conviction. Prayer isn't about informing God, it's about involving God. And unanswered prayers are often uncompleted prayers. God works through consistent, persistent, faith-filled prayer. Takeaway points. Prayer is not passive. It's the most powerful action you can take. It's where heaven invades earth. When you stop praying, you stop expecting. And when expectation dies, so does hope. God hears short prayers, long prayers, loud prayers, quiet prayers, but not silent hearts. You have to ask. Prayer pulls your plan, your faith, your effort, and your vision into divine alignment. Bible verses for reflection. Jeremiah 33 KJV. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and shew thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. Philippians 4 verse 6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Matthew 7. Keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Call to action for the believer. This week, become intentional about prayer. Not just occasional, emotional prayer, but daily, deliberate, faith-filled prayer. Make a list of the three biggest areas in your life that feel like they're falling apart. Begin praying over them daily, by name, with confidence. Say aloud, Lord, I give you access to every part of my life. I ask for your wisdom, your provision, your power. Pull everything together for your glory. Don't just worry. Don't just try harder. Pray deeper. Because prayer is not preparation for the battle. It is the battle. And in Christ, you always win. Chapter 10. What to do when you don't know what to do. From tough times never last, but tough people do. What do you do when life knocks the wind out of you and nothing makes sense? In Chapter 10, Dr. Schuller speaks directly to the person who feels stuck, overwhelmed, confused, and frozen by fear. When your plans fall apart, your prayers seem unanswered, and your strength is gone, what do you do? His answer is both simple and profound. When you don't know what to do what you know to do. Schuller emphasizes that confusion is not a sign of failure. It's a call to refocus. God often uses seasons of uncertainty to realign our hearts, not to punish us, but to prepare us. He warns against two dangerous responses to confusion: doing nothing out of fear of doing the wrong thing, doing anything out of desperation without seeking God. Instead, he offers a faithful framework, a spiritual compass for navigating uncertain seasons. It includes 1. Return to foundational truths. Go back to the promises of God. 2. Do the next right thing. Even small steps in the right direction create divine momentum. 3. Hold fast to your values. Don't compromise your integrity out of pressure. 4. Stay consistent in prayer. Silence doesn't mean God is absent. 5. Surround yourself with wisdom. Don't isolate, seek godly counsel. 6. Rest in God's timing. Sometimes God delays direction until you're ready to obey. Dr. Schuller also shares personal moments when he, too, didn't know what to do. Moments when his church faced financial crisis, his family faced tragedy, and his own soul battled doubt. But each time, the breakthrough came not by clarity first, but by obedience first. Takeaway points. You may not have all the answers, but you have access to the one who does. Let peace, not panic, guide your decisions. Standing still in faith is better than running in fear. Confusion is not a cue to act irrationally. God often reveals the next step, not the full picture. Faith walks forward even when the path is dim. When you don't know what to do, worship. When you don't know what to say, pray. When you don't know where to go, wait on the Lord. Bible verses for reflection. Proverbs 3:6 KJVs. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Isaiah 30 verse 21. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Psalm 46 Be still and know that I am God. Call to action for the believer in a place where you don't know what to do? Then stop, breathe, pray, and do what you do know to do. Return to the basics. Worship, pray, seek God's word, love others, walk in integrity. Say aloud, Lord, even when I don't have all the answers, I will trust you. Lead me, guide me, and steady my heart. I may not know what to do, but I know you will show me what's next. Remember, confusion is not the absence of God. It's often the invitation to lean on him more deeply. And that, my friend, is when clarity begins. Chapter 11, It Takes Faith to Hang On, from Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. There comes a point in every believer's journey when the fight gets fierce, the darkness deepens, and all you can do is hang on. That's the soul of chapter 11. Dr. Schuller reaches into the heart of weariness, not the weariness of the body, but the weariness of the soul, and whispers, don't let go. It's not over. Hang on. It takes faith to do that. This chapter is for those on the brink of giving up, on a dream, a relationship, a ministry, a business, or even life itself. Schuller doesn't minimize the pain or sugarcoat the struggle. Instead, he affirms it and then calls out the faith to endure. He explains that hanging on is not weakness, it's strength in its rawest, most sacred form. When you're too tired to run, too wounded to fight, and too discouraged to speak, yet you refuse to let go, that is faith in its most unshakable form. Using stories of survivors, war veterans, and broken believers who chose to cling to God even when they had nothing left but a thread of hope, Schuller reminds us that your breakthrough often comes right after your breaking point. Sometimes faith is not moving mountains. Sometimes faith is refusing to be moved by the mountain. Takeaway points. Hanging on is a holy act. In a world that celebrates instant results, endurance is a divine weapon. Faith is not always loud. It's often quiet, trembling, tear-stained perseverance. You don't have to feel strong to be strong in God. You're closer to the miracle than you think. The night is darkest just before dawn. Don't quit now. God's silence is not God's absence. He is working even when you don't see or feel it. Bible verses for reflection. Galatians 6:9, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Isaiah 41 verse 10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. Hebrews 10:35-30 NIV. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that you will receive what he has promised. Call to action for the believer. If you're barely holding on today, you're exactly where God can show his greatest power. Don't let go of your promise. Don't let go of your prayer life. Don't let go of your hope. Hang on in faith. Say this aloud in faith. Lord, even when I don't see the way forward, I will hold on. Even when I feel weak, I will trust you. I believe that what you promise will come to pass. I won't let go because you haven't let go of me. Remember, faith doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, I'll try again tomorrow. And sometimes that's all it takes. Chapter 12, When You've Really Got a Problem, from Tough Times Never Last, But Tough People Do, by Dr. Robert H. Schuller. Schuller closes this life-transforming book not with empty optimism, but with deep empathy and unwavering faith. In chapter 12, he speaks to the believer who doesn't just have a bad day or a rough patch, but is facing a real problem, a life-altering, heart-wrenching, no easy answer kind of problem, the kind of problem that keeps you up at night, the kind that tests your faith, the kind that makes you ask, where is God in all this? And yet, Schuller's message is clear. Your problem is not greater than your God. He doesn't offer easy answers. He offers eternal truths, truths that anchor the soul when life is unraveling. Problems are not punishments. They are platforms for revelation and transformation. God never wastes pain. Every tear, trial, and test becomes part of his divine plan. You may not understand the why, but you can hold on to the who. He encourages readers to stop asking why me and start declaring, God is with me. Because when you have God's presence, you already have the seed of victory, even if you haven't yet seen the harvest. Schuller ends the chapter with stories of people who came face to face with tragedy, but found meaning, power, and purpose through their faith in Christ. These were not superheroes. They were ordinary people with extraordinary endurance through the power of God. Takeaway points. Real problems require real faith, not fake smiles or surface-level solutions, but raw, honest, enduring belief in God's goodness. God isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for people who won't give up. Your persistence in the storm brings glory to him. Sometimes survival is success. When you're still standing after the dust settles, that's already a testimony. Faith doesn't remove the problem, it carries you through it. Bible verses for reflection. Psalm 34 verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. Final call to action for the believer. You've walked through 12 life-giving chapters. You've been reminded, encouraged, challenged, and strengthened, but now it's time to apply what you've learned. Whatever problem you're facing, declare, I will not be defined by this problem. I will be refined by it. Begin to use everything you've received. Think with possibility. Act with courage. Pray with power. Lead with faith. Endure with grace. Say this aloud. Tough times don't define me, faith does. I may face real problems, but I serve a real God with real power. I am not going under, I'm going through. Final truth. Tough times never last, but tough people, tough believers, tough worshipers, tough dreamers, by God's grace do.